So I wanted to introduce you today, Vanessa Simmons. We are at the beautiful Rose Gardens in Balboa Park, and it smells phenomenal out here. I wish you could smell it. There is no smell-o-vision, though. So I want you to know who our hometown hero is in San Diego, but who's also making a huge difference in the lives of a lot of women across the United States and also internationally. So I want to let Vanessa introduce you to her platform and her program and what she's doing to celebrate International
Day to Normalize Breastfeeding. It's long and wordy. My name is Vanessa Simmons. I'm the founder of the Normalize Breastfeeding movement, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share with your community what I've been doing for the last 5 years. Back in 2014, when I was breastfeeding my 4-month-old, I was scrolling on Facebook and I hit the Normalize Breastfeeding hashtag. And I was really shocked to find that the first post was a pornographic post. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't understand how something like this could happen with a hashtag like that. And so I started to kind of look more into the hashtag. I found several women who were being kicked out of public spaces for feeding their babies, and I just couldn't understand it. So I went ahead and started a movement. I started the Normalize Breastfeeding movement.
So through the end of June, we are helping Vanessa launch this pledge campaign. And what we're asking is that you buy a ticket to help raise money for the 501(c), buy a t-shirt to help raise money and raise awareness for normalizing how you feed your babies. The theme this year is Support is Best. So I'm going to let you tell us what we're doing for those pictures for social media.
So yeah, I mean, we really want you to just have photographs that show what your support system looks like. So whether that's your family, your immediate family, or extended family being supportive when you're breastfeeding, whether that be your local bus driver who's helping you to get your stroller onto the bus and gives you a nice kind smile
while you're latched,
rather than kind of staring at you and wondering what's going on. We really want to show support because that's what's helping moms to be able to achieve their feeding goals. And we really believe that the more that we can focus on the support, then the more supported the families will feel, and therefore breastfeeding will feel like it's being more normalized.
So I'm going to step off camera so that I can ask you questions. That's where I'm going. So a lot of people don't know that you were actually a photographer before this all began.
Right.
You had Candid Photography. And tell me about your first model call.
So I did a model call on Facebook, and I had a very, very large amount of women who were interested. And so I started shooting those women here in San Diego. But I started to notice that we didn't really have a good range of diversity in the women that were interested in taking the photographs.
For breastfeeding?
For breastfeeding, yeah. And so it was probably a few months later that I found out about Black Breastfeeding Week. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I started looking into it and started talking about all of the disparities that Black women face in maternal health. And so it was definitely a learning experience for me. So the interesting thing is that when Black Breastfeeding Week came around, I put out a model call to do a Black breastfeeding photo shoot, and only one person responded to my ad and showed up. Luckily, I was breastfeeding my youngest, so I had an assistant with me, and I was able to jump in a few of the photos so that it looked like we were a community.
So when there's a model call where there's two of you, what do you do with that?
It was a really difficult situation. I had to take some time and really think about broadening my view of what breastfeeding looked like, because here in San Diego, it just didn't look like it represented a lot of people. So I decided that at some point in time, I was going to have to take a tour around the United States to show more of what breastfeeding looked like here in our country. So the first International Day to Normalize Breastfeeding, we were able to reach 10,000 followers on our Facebook page in that first year.
Fantastic.
And we were like, we need to celebrate. We need to come up with some kind of way to celebrate. So we submitted a proclamation to Mayor Kevin Faulconer, and he was very gracious. He published our proclamation to initiate the first International Day to Normalize Breastfeeding. And when we announced it, we had a huge response from people all around the world who wanted to see this proclamation in their own hometown. And so we allowed people to submit their proclamations as well. This was my opportunity that I had to be able to launch a national tour to give me the opportunity to create more diversity in breastfeeding imagery that we see today.
So when we're talking about taking the pledge, explain that to us.
So every year annually, we've done some kind of a fundraising event to help the projects that we have for the upcoming year. The first one was our national tour, and we sold t-shirts that had a pledge on it that either women could take the pledge as a mom or they could take the pledge as a supporter. This year, because our theme is support is best, everyone's taking the pledge as a supporter. So this year the pledge is, I pledge to support families to nurse, pump, or donate whenever necessary, to nourish their baby with human milk as often as possible until they are ready to stop. So annually we provide a pledge t-shirt for people to purchase to help us to fundraise.
And they're really cute. I looked at it.
They're super cute. And this year we're fundraising to actually start a 501c3. For the past few years, we've just had it as kind of just a project, but now we have really big goals. We want to do scholarships for women who want to take breastfeeding education and knowledge back to their own communities. We want to do a huge United States maternal health campaign, and so we'd like to launch an international speaking tour. I've been doing motivational speaking across the country and providing just good information for peer counselors, and I'd like to continue that internationally while on tour to photograph more diversity around the world. And finally, we really want to start a podcast alongside that speaking tour, because there's really so many conversations that are happening behind the scenes. Conversations from people who do support breastfeeding, but maybe they're not online and open with it. So trying to get more of those conversations out into the forefront on a podcast platform. We have until the end of this month to raise $50,000, and we need your help to do that. We want you to take the pledge to normalize breastfeeding by buying a t-shirt or buying a ticket. It's that simple. We also want you to get online and get on social media and share your pictures, share your support system. We want to show support is best.
So I want to encourage you to be really creative with your pictures. Get them on Instagram, get your support in there, get your puppies in there. Everyone supports us when we have our dogs, right? I want them to be fun and creative and exciting. And birth workers, you've got a lot of women in your community that really need the support, and they have a lot of support with you. Get in there and get your pictures. So I want to emphasize that this is not just baby to breast, the only way to breastfeed, because there's a lot of ways that babies get human milk. I have moms that exclusively pump. We have moms that exclusively get donated milk because that's all they have available. There's tube feeding. We have moms that are G-tube feeding their babies with human milk. Any kind of support for these kind of moms doing whatever they're doing to get human milk into their babies, that's what this day is about.
And we want to see that on social media. We want you to share your photos that you usually have behind the scenes. We want to see those out in public so that we have the opportunity to congratulate you on your journey and just give you praise for the dedication that you've had to this experience.
I think it's also important to show some of the hardships of doing it.
Yes.
Because I remember pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. And sometimes you're thinking, I'm not getting enough, and you're downtrodden and you feel like I'm giving up, I can't do this anymore. And the more support you have to know that you're not the only one, and there are different ways to feed your baby, and it doesn't always have to be boob to baby. There are other ways to get that milk inside that baby. So what I need you to do is go follow Vanessa on Instagram, Normalize Breastfeeding Official. Click the link on the bio, get to her webpage, take the pledge, buy a t-shirt, and start posting your pictures.
Thank you so much, Karen, for all that you've done to help me to support and promote this event. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate your pledges, and we hope that you get involved with our meetups that are happening all around the world.